everyone, welcome to Curious Life, and today is the day that I'm setting up my Flylady Control Journal for 2025. So I'm going to be designing it in Canva, and I'll show you the whole process that I have for designing, printing and making my control journal. So as we get started with me designing in Canva, let me introduce myself and then I'll give an explanation of how I choose to do my control journal and what I'm doing. So hello, I'm Issa and it's nice to meet you. I make intentional homemaking videos with my wife Blaise, and we make videos about how we take care and maintain our home, which includes our planning systems, but also a whole lot of cleaning and cozy homemaking videos, so please do subscribe if you're interested in those types of videos. So let's get back to what I'm doing, and this year I actually didn't intend to make my own planners, but when it came to looking for the perfect planner inserts, I just couldn't find anything that was perfect. I'm not generally a believer in needing things to be perfect, but when it comes to planners, these are really personal things to use, and in order for them to be useful, they do need to be fairly close to what I need. So after many weeks of searching and failing, I gave up and headed to Canva to make my own planner inserts instead. To do this in Canva, you can either use their inbuilt templates, and these are pretty good, and they do provide a really good baseline. So by going to the Design tab, you can do a quick search for calendars or planners, and then see if anything already exists that you can use as is or customize. I actually decided not to do that because I wanted my alignments and boxes to be fairly precise, so I did create my own base template for every month of the year that I could then copy and paste into my planner designs and customize further. Because although right now I am working on my Flylady Control Journal, I also do use a personal planner or bullet journal too, and that's for tracking my personal goals, my tasks and things that are not related to the house or our home life. So what I'm currently doing is copying and pasting in the calendar information and then customizing the page so it follows the colours and design that I want. For the design, I have a good idea of colours and themes because the folder I'm using my planner for is all done and ready, and I cannot wait to show you later in the video. Blaise made it for me and it's beautiful. This is a step that is definitely not necessary, but Blaise learnt how to bookbind and make planners last year just as a hobby, so she tends to make any folders or planners that we need using fabrics that we choose. It's lovely, but it's definitely not necessary to having a planner. But I will show you in a bit once we've finished in Canva and printed out all the inserts. So once my calendar is done and ready, I tend to move on to the rest of my inserts. And these are actually the basis of the main control journal, which if you're not aware is the planner or journal that the Flylady gets you to set up as part of her cleaning and home management system. I've been following the Flylady system for a couple of years now, although I have hugely customized it to work for me in my home. But the control journal is something that is really useful to have. It's basically a planner and journal all rolled into one, and it's where you keep your thoughts, routines, recipes and any information you need. These can be anything from a simple folder with paper and a pen to post-it notes or a notebook, however you like to keep track of information. I've chosen this method because it works well with how I like to plan and organise my information. I also get real enjoyment from my planners being pretty, which is why I had to put this type of extra effort into my control journal. I've also created a bit of a hybrid system between the Flylady Control Journal and index card planning systems, and that helps me keep track of everything. I do have a video that explains how I separate these systems out in detail, so if you're interested, I'd recommend giving that video a watch after this one. But a very brief explanation is that I use my control journal for long-term planning and information gathering, and my index card box is where I keep my day-to-day tasks. I did set up my index card system in last week's video, so check that out too to see what that looks like. But my control journal has a basic monthly calendar in, then it has sections to keep my cleaning routines. Well, there are a few sections, so let's go through them one by one. I mentioned my cleaning routine section. This is where I detail out all the routines, which for me is morning, evening, daytime routine, then a daily focus routine and monthly zone cleans. I will do some videos in the near year to go with my routines for 2025 in more detail, so watch out for those. But I've also done lots of videos in the past on what all of these routines look like for me. So there's plenty on the channel if you want to find out more information. Then I have a section for information and in particular emergency information. So I am designing inserts that have our contact information in, and a page that details who to contact in an emergency if one or both of us are not available. And the idea of this is that it is easy to grab and either give to someone or they can easily find it by looking in the kitchen. Then I also do a page each that details our personal information so that anything that emergency services might need to know, such as dates of birth, health information, medication, that sort of thing. And then after that I also put a couple of pages for important information. This is to keep track of things like passports, house deeds, wills, that sort of thing. Basically we just write down the important document and where it can be found. Hopefully we won't ever need this section, but I have heard stories of how having this information written down and just ready to grab has been really useful in emergency situations. In this section I also add in a page for our pets, which isn't a huge section, but we do occasionally have dogs or cat sitters, so we find it useful to have information that someone who isn't us might need to help them look after Cora, our dog, and Millie, our cat. So each of them have a page with their names, their nicknames, medical information, their routines, foods they eat, and there's also a little section for tricks they know, which only really applies to Cora. Then next is one of the biggest sections, which is meals and recipes. Last year I started to write out our regular recipes and it was really useful to have, so I want to keep doing that, so I'm designing some recipe cards. Last year I didn't do meal planning in my control journal, but in the last couple of months Blaze has taken over some of the meal planning, so I'm moving that back into the control journal because it'll just be handy to have it there. So I just need some blank weekly meal plans made and some shopping lists, and I'll print them as we need. For this section I also decided to add in some lists for meal ideas and for like lunch and dinner. Both Blaze and I really struggle with meal planning because you have to think about so many meals and so many ingredients, and it can feel really overwhelming. So we've started to write lists of regular meals we like, so that when we're meal planning we can just pick from lists and it will hopefully make the process easier. So there's not many sections left now. Next I have a small section which right now doesn't have a lot in, but it's just somewhere I can keep paint swatches, fabric swatches and things like that. So if I need to buy paint to touch up walls, I don't have to try and remember what paint I used, it's just all written down. This section will probably grow over the year as it is for general house information too, but that's all I've got for it right now. And then the last section I want to work on is going to end up being our biggest. This section is for home renovation and we jokingly call it our big to-do list. And it's a section to write down all of the jobs that need doing in the house. So maintenance, improvements that we have planned and that sort of thing. We're calling it our big to-do list because we have decided that this year is the year we're going to take our home maintenance more seriously. Because we want to get our home to the place that we want it to be. So we have pages for every room in the house and one for the garden, and we'll just be writing down every little thing that needs doing so that we can then organise ourselves into getting some things done. This section will grow, but right now we're just at the stage of needing to list out everything that needs doing and what we want to do. So I'll add more pages here as we need for project management and information. I am going to be bringing you guys along with me for that journey, so I will be starting to write and plan that list with you very soon. Anyway guys, that's the hardest part done. Now we need to start printing these and turn them into a journal. So in a minute I'll go grab my new folder to show you, but while these print I think we need a coffee to go with the planner assembly, so let's go do that too. Right, I have my coffee, my printed pages and my new planner. Look at how amazing this is. We have had this fabric for years but not really known what to use it for. So when we were looking for fabric for the planner it just seemed perfect. And Blaze did such a great job making this. But as you can now see, my planner inserts were very much themed along the lines of these colours and the theme of sending letters. So hopefully it all makes sense now. So let's assemble the planner. This is actually the easy bit, although it is a little time consuming. I tend to just put some music on or listen to a podcast and just relax into tasks like this. So I don't print double-sided for a couple of reasons, although I could. One of the reasons is that having really thick paper makes it much nicer to write on and you don't get pen bleed through as badly. The other reason is that it's just easier. When you print double-sided, you've got to try and work out which page is supposed to be on the back of which other page, and then get the printer to align it all correctly. It's just a nightmare. One day I might try and work that out, but this year is not the year. So I just glue the pages together in the order that I want, making sure that they're all the right way round, and that just makes the process a whole lot easier. Then I cut them in half and hole punch them. I would definitely recommend that if you make your own planner inserts for any type of ring binder or disc planner like the Happy Planner, then invest in a hole punch. One that matches your planner, of course. We bought ours from Amazon years ago and it has been worth the investment. So you might have noticed that some of my inserts are actually meant to be divider pages. And to give them index tabs so that they actually are dividers, I use pre-made sticker index tabs. And these are available on Amazon, Etsy, or all sorts of places. Then I use those to create my divided sections so that everything is organised and easy to use and find. Then it's just a matter of putting everything in the planner and we are ready to go. So let's do a quick flip through of my Flylady Control Journal so that you can see how it looks and how all of that designing worked out. I absolutely love making my own planners. There is something really lovely about having something personal that is exactly what you need it to be. I haven't filled out a lot of the information just yet, but that's something I'll do together with Blaze over the next few days. But in the next year, you will be seeing a lot of this planner because together with my index card box, it is my home management Bible. Anyway, that is the system set up. I hope you found it interesting and helpful just to see how I set up my system and some of the tools that I use. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video and I hope you have a lovely day.